Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, of course.
Hello, madam, how are you?
Fine. And what about you?
Doing well, thank you.
How is Chadaria? She's
She,
fine.
she's doing well too. She's doing well too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've just woken up. They're sleeping. It's pretty early here,
Good
but
evening to one and all. Sir, can I start? Hello,
sorry.
sir. Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening to one and all gathered here. Welcome to this webinar. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. If you have the dream to do MBA, then you are at the right place. Today, we have Mr. Harsh Kundulli with us, who is an HR technology strategy consultant at PwC Canada. He is an alumnus of our own campus, NSS College of Engineering, from the batch of 2007 to 11. Today, he will be talking about his journey to B School and beyond. What are the options in MBA? What are the career opportunities in colleges that we can try? On behalf of Students Association of Computer Science, I would like to extend a warm welcome. First, I invite Ramya ma'am, our staff advisor, to speak a few words.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. സോ ഹർഷിനെ കാണുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ വളരെ ഫോർമൽ ആയിട്ടല്ല ഒരു ഇൻഫോർമൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇൻവിറ്റേഷൻ ആണ് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്. ഞാൻ ആക്ച്വലി NSSൽ വന്നിട്ട് ഒരു 6 years ആയിട്ടുള്ളൂ. പക്ഷെ ഹർഷിനെ പേഴ്സണലി എനിക്കറിയാം ബിക്കോസ് നിങ്ങളുടെ കിരൺ സാറിന്റെ ബാച്ച് ആയിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ ഞാൻ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം പാലക്കാട് വന്നതിന് ശേഷം ഞാൻ ടൂറ് പോയൊരു ബാച്ചായിരുന്നു ഇവരുടെ. കാരണം ആൻഡ്രസ് സാർ അന്ന് ഇവരുടെ ട്യൂട്ടർ ആയിരുന്നു. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ഇവരുടെ സാറിന്റെ വൈഫ് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ഫാമിലി ആയിട്ട് ഈ കുട്ടികളെ കൊണ്ട് ടൂറ് പോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. വളരെ എന്താ പറയാ, ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ലൈഫിൽ എൻജോയ് ചെയ്ത ഏറ്റവും ബെസ്റ്റ് ടൂറായിരുന്നു അത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഇവരെ ഞാൻ ഒരിക്കലും മറക്കില്ല, ഈ ക്ലാസ്സിലെ കുട്ടികളെ. ഹർഷാണെങ്കിലും ഹർഷിന്റെ വൈഫ് ചാതുര്യ, രണ്ടുപേരും നമ്മുടെ അലുമിനിയാണ്. രണ്ടുപേരെയും ഞാൻ അന്നും ഓർക്കുന്നു, ഇന്നും വളരെ നന്നായിട്ട് ഓർക്കുന്നു. ഹർഷിനും ആ നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു, അല്ലേ? ഞാൻ അന്നേ ശ്രദ്ധിച്ച ഒരു പേഴ്സണാലിറ്റിയാണ്. ബിക്കോസ് അന്ന് ഞാൻ ബിടെക് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 1 വർഷം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നുള്ളൂ, ഇവര് ഫൈനൽ ഇയർ പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ. ഞാൻ അന്ന് ബസ്സിലൊക്കെ പോകുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഒരു വളരെ പെർഫെക്റ്റ് ജെന്റിൽമാൻ ലുക്കുള്ള ഒരാൾ അന്നേ ഒരു സ്റ്റുഡന്റ് ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഞാൻ ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഒരാളാണ് ഹർഷ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഈക്വലി ഗുഡ് ആയിട്ട് യുവർ ബെറ്റർ ഹാഫ് ചാതുര്യ. സോ ഐ എം വെരി ഹാപ്പി ദാറ്റ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഇൻവൈറ്റ് ചെയ്തപ്പോഴേക്കും തന്നെ ഈ സെഷൻ ഹാൻഡിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ റെഡി ആയതും വീണ്ടും നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിന്റെ ഓർമ്മകളിലേക്ക് തിരിച്ചു വരാൻ ഇതൊരു ചാൻസ് ആണെന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു, അല്ലേ? അപ്പോ ഒരു ഫോർമൽ ആയിട്ടല്ല, ഇൻഫോർമൽ ആയിട്ട് തന്നെ. ബിക്കോസ് നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു യു ആർ എ പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് NSSC, റൈറ്റ്? സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഞാൻ വളരെ ഇൻഫോർമൽ ആയിട്ട് ഹർഷിനെ സ്നേഹത്തോടെയും സന്തോഷത്തോടു കൂടിയും ഇനിയും നമ്മൾ ഇങ്ങനത്തെ മീറ്റുകളൊക്കെ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ ഒരു പ്രൈമറി സ്റ്റെപ്പ് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ അത് ഫസ്റ്റ് ഒരു ടോക്കാണ്. ഞാൻ സ്റ്റാക്സിന്റെ ചാർജ് എടുത്തതിന് ശേഷം വരുന്ന ഫസ്റ്റ് പ്രോഗ്രാം ആണ്. So I invite you with all my what to say, with a lot of happiness, and I'm very happy that you are willing to take the session. And I also tried to call him last day, one day before, and we had a chat also. Both we chat about our personal matters as well as the official things, and I'm very happy, and I invite you to this session, and I'm handing over this to Mr. Harsh.
Okay, thank you. ഒരുപാട് സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. ആ ട്രിപ്പ് that was ഒരു വളരെ നല്ല എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആയിരുന്നു, and overall college also really good memories. I don't want this to be a formal exercise, so please do ask questions throughout. I just have the plan that I had in mind was to just just share, not instruct. I don't want to. There are better people who can instruct you. I'll share my experiences and my perspectives, so please do use your own research, your own analysis to make it contextualized for your needs. I'll share my experiences and I'll answer questions based on my experiences. The plan that I had in mind was to go through a few just very simple slides. I know you guys are bored of slides. Just a few slides which will sort of give structure to the conversation, and then open Q&A. So please do participate. I'm hoping that there will be lots of questions. So I don't know if I can share my screen. I think I can. Let me just share my screen. Can you see this slide? Thumbs up or a yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, this just summarizes my experience so far, and I began my journey, my professional journey at NSS. So was a part of the 711 NSS Computer Science batch. After that, got into Tata Consultancy Services, went to Chennai, was a software engineer there, worked on a couple of interesting projects there, and then wrote my MBA entrance exam. So I had always had that interest, and I was speaking with Chaturya yesterday, and I met my wife at NSS Engineering College, like Ramya Madam said. And we were, and she also sort of studied with me for the entrance exams, and I was discussing with her what made us do it and what made us choose this path. And to be honest, the answer was not clear to either of us. It was there were a few triggers at a few moments, but really there's no one big point where we made that decision. So probably we can dive into all of those thoughts later in the session. So anyway, I wrote my entrance exams, got into XLRI, went to Jamshedpur, spent a couple of years there, and then joined a company called Everest Group to do management consulting. And you'll see that I'm right now also doing management consulting. The idea here is you help clients with their business problems, with their technology problems, and advise them on what should their future roadmap and strategy should be. So that's what I started doing at Everest Group. That was in Gurgaon. So after that, there was a brief stint. It's not really brief. There was a stint at a company called Ceridian doing corporate strategy work. Ceridian is a software company. It's a human capital management software company. I did some corporate strategy work there. So it was at that point in time that I moved to Toronto in Canada, and I've been here ever since. So right now I'm with PwC. I had a short stint in between with Deloitte, but right now with PwC, working on technology strategy consulting projects. So helping clients understand what are their technology needs and building a roadmap to help them achieve their business objectives with technology enablement. So that's my journey. That's a brief, very high level overview of my experience. The big thing which I want to call out is, although the NSS college is what one part of the journey, and I'm at this end of the journey. The degree or what I learned at NSS comes in handy even now. So that's probably because I'm in a field that's aligned with software. So I'm in, like I said, I'm in enterprise software space. So it helps that I learned some of the concepts of fundamental computer science at NSS. That combined with the skills and experiences that I picked up at XLRI and all the other companies that I work that are really helping me in my everyday work. So that's my journey so far. I want to pause here a bit. So first of all, housekeeping check. Can everybody hear me properly? I mean, was this clear? Are there any issues? And also any questions? I'll pause for a second. Okay, I'm hoping there's no issue and everybody can hear me and all of this makes sense. So I was just, and then when Kiran messaged me and told me about this session, and also then spoke with Ramya madam and student representatives, I was thinking what I should talk about, and I thought that this slide might be helpful. So it was really looking back and spending some time thinking about. And I want to take a step back and make it very clear that I'm talking about this particular career path only, which is doing an MBA after your computer science engineering degree, and what that can mean, right? I'm not an expert to talk about software engineering careers and software engineering areas of focus. So all of the session would be focused on what a B school degree and MBA degree can give you, right? So I was just thinking through it, and I just put a few points here. What has happened, or how can I encapsulate my experience after MBA? So the first piece would be skills and experiences. So there are a few things a few skills, of course, if you guys are reading stuff and keeping your eyes open, you will see that the entire world is moving towards skills, right? You need to have fundamental skills to be able to succeed, even more than credentials or other ways of understanding the value of a worker. It's really the skills that truly matter, and I've been able to pick up a few skills which this particular journey afforded me. So the first one would be something I call customer orientation. So that's really making sure that whatever you do is what your customer wants, and your customer can be anybody. It can be, so in this instance, my customer is you guys. So that's why I asked Kiran, what do the students expect, right? So if you are in sales, your customer is clearly the prospect. If you are in HR, your customer is the employee, etc., etc. So you need to be able to, so whatever you do, it has to be something that the customer wants, needs, and expects. So that orientation, I believe, is a result of my B school years and the career after. Experiences, again, and it's connected to the mobility point. I haven't put the mobility point here, but it's connected to that point, which is really the MBA degree gave me the freedom to move between different parts of the company value chain and experience a lot of things that I wouldn't have experienced otherwise. So I've been able to work in HR, I've been able to work in marketing, I've touched parts of finance, I've had exposure to operations problems, etc. So the entire horizontal piece I've had exposure to. I've also worked on different verticals. So that could be financial services, government, non-profit. So, a wide variety of companies, a wide variety of industries I've had exposure to, which also I attribute to this career path that I chose. I'm not saying that the others won't give you those experiences. I'm just saying that this path has really helped me gain a wide variety of experiences. And also, the variety also comprises of the kinds of places that I've worked in. I've been in different places in India. I've had to travel a lot. I've also worked in other parts of the world. Now in North America. So that variety of experience is also something that I attribute to this path. Career pivot is a big point. So I was not a great engineer, and probably the professors on the call will attest to that. The MBA degree helped me make that pivot from software engineer to the other careers that you just looked at, which is management consulting, strategy, etc. So that was possible mainly because of the MBA. Without the MBA, it would have been very difficult. Credibility of the brand, so credibility of a degree from a top B school really helps. It opens doors for you, which are otherwise tough to get opened. So that is definitely something that's important. Growth, yeah. So in general, one of the advantages of the MBA degree is that you get an accelerated career path. So everybody at some point will hit a level in their careers where you will need to manage people, you will need to manage projects, unless you choose consciously to be only in an operations focused role. And operations in your case would be doing engineering, coding, etc. So at some point everybody will have to manage people, will have to manage projects, will have to manage stakeholders, etc. The thing about MBA is it helps you fast track that path. So if that's what interests you, you don't need to go through the operations path and get to that management level. You can move directly to that level. So that is something that this degree gave me. And network is a big point. So you tend to have really smart people, really ambitious people in your business school and beyond. So who are really good people as well. So you get to build a pretty good network after your MBA, and that also helps. So again, lots of information. I'll shut up very quickly, but any questions on this slide before I move on to the next one? Okay, I'm hoping it will not be this quiet later. Okay, the next one. MBA options. So what I want to do here, again, don't want to get into the weeds here. I know you'll probably have questions. So I want to keep it very high level and get your thinking juices flowing by saying what are some of the options that you can look at. The first one, which typically people ask me, is whether you should do an MBA as a fresher or as an experienced person. Right? So you can join right out of your college, or you can spend some time in the workforce and do MBA. So there are pros and cons to it. So if you are interested, ask me, I'll answer. I don't want to go into this right now. I'm sensing the room is too quiet. How you can do it in India or you can go abroad. So there are considerations there as well. But I want to make sure that I make this point that you look at both colleges in India and abroad and look at and make an informed choice. The next one is top tier versus others. So you can go to top colleges in. So the value is best if you go to a college with a good brand name. Otherwise, an MBA won't really work, because MBA is not like engineering where you are actually trained in some hard skill, right? You learn how to code, etc. MBA's value comes from the network, from the company brand, comes from the skills that you pick up, your communication skills, collaboration skills, your people management skills, your project management skills, etc. That's what MBA gives you, and you cannot just learn something from a book and go and reply and go and answer questions in the exam or later go and so there's no real book that you can study and learn management, right? You'll have to work with people, get exposed to different problems, and that's how you learn. So there are a lot of entrance exams that you can write. So again, I'll welcome questions. I don't want to go on and on. And then finally, there are different kinds of courses. So you can do executive MBA, you can do regular MBA, you can do part-time, you can do full-time, etc., etc. So lots of options which you should be aware of. Any other questions here? Guessing not. Okay. So is it the right choice for you? It all depends, and I would like to have a discussion if that works. It depends, and I'm giving a management consultant answer here. It depends on a lot of different variables. So making a decision is not easy. You'll need to think about your interests. Some people genuinely feel that that this career is not for them, but that shouldn't, computer science is not for them, but that shouldn't be your motivating factor to do an MBA. But if you feel that it's not for them, it's not for you, explore and understand. So that's the second point. You need to do lots of research to make sure that you understand what this career path is about. And this session is supposed to help with that. And then getting to your why. So it's very important to get to your why you are thinking about this. And I'm assuming not all of you are interested. There are 120 people here, so clearly not all of you are interested. So I would be surprised if all of you want to go do an MBA. So I won't spend too much time here. I'll spend time on all of this in the Q&A if there are questions. Otherwise, for people who are not interested, it doesn't make sense to talk about this. And the last point on no hurry, you don't need to make a decision right now, or even before you leave college. You can spend time in the workplace, you can think through your options. So basically you have time to make a decision about whether this is the right path. All right, I've talked a lot. I will stop the deck. I know you guys are bored of decks, so let me stop sharing and open the stage up for questions. So any questions, please do let us know. Let me know. And again, it can be very informal. If informal I say, so any question, please check it.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
Hi, sir. My name is Linda. Thank you for sparing your time today. Okay. So my question is, could you elaborate on the advantages of pursuing MBA after working for about 2 or 3 years in a technical field? What are the advantages that we can have?
Yeah, that's a very good point, and that's exactly what I did. Very good question. The advantages are, one, you know better what you are getting into, right? So in college you may not fully understand how a business works, what are the nuances that go into working with different kinds of people, working with different kinds of clients. And also, if you feel that software engineering is not your longer term career, maybe that's what you're feeling now. After you get into a full-time engineering job, you may not feel the same way. You may start liking your job. So you get time to know if what you're doing right now is the right thing for you to do. That's number one, which makes you take an informed decision about whether you should go for an MBA or not. The second point is, once you get into an MBA, your experience helps. So there are, for instance, at XLRI, we had two kinds of placements, campus placements. One was for everybody, right? The second one was only for experienced people. So that was the part where I got my job out of XLRI campus. So that's where your work experience helps, and companies that specifically look for people with work experience, they come and pick you up. So the company that picked me up, they were specifically looking for people who had a computer science background and who had an MBA. So that gave me a and computer science background. By background, I mean education and experience, and an MBA. So that gave me a very distinct advantage in that process, and that's how I cracked that interview and process. So those are the positives. So you get to make a better decision based on your work experience. You have an advantage in the workplace, in the placements in business school. Then disadvantages would be some kinds of jobs are open to freshers generally in Indian business school. And I'm to be very clear, I'm talking about the Indian business school context. I don't have as much of a knowledge, though I know a little bit about global business schools. It is, good question. I'll come back to that. So the disadvantages would be there are some kinds of jobs that are more fresher oriented. And when I say fresher, they are straight out of their undergrad, right? So you'll see people who have just finished their engineering and joined business school, people who have just finished their medical course and have joined business school, people who have just finished their arts course and have joined business school, etc. So for those people, some jobs like sales, some jobs like marketing are generally they are preferred. The idea is they are not, their mindsets are not yet fixed in a particular way of working, so they are more flexible for these kinds of jobs. So that's one kind of a drawback, that you may be passed over for those kinds of jobs if you have, say, 3 years of work experience. But if those jobs don't interest you, it doesn't matter. The second point is you need to think about the opportunity cost. So some of you will get into really good paying jobs, and sorry, I'm getting a bit of an echo. Okay, it's fine now. Okay, so some of you may get into really good paying jobs, and at that point, you need to consider what's called an opportunity cost, right? So if you're going and doing an MBA, for those 2 years, you're paying fees, obviously, but you're also not earning the money you could have earned in your other job, right? So you're losing that money too, which is what we call the opportunity cost in MBA parlance. So you need to keep that in mind. So if you the more you earn in your job out of your computer science degree, the tougher it'll be for you to convince yourself to go for an MBA. So just something to keep in mind, because it depends on what you want. Again, I'm just going back to your why. If your question is making a lot of money, and be very clear about what you want to do, right? It can be about making a lot of money. It can be about getting into a particular field. It can be about being in a position where you manage people. So be very clear about your why, and that will help you. If it's about making a lot of money and you're already earning a lot with your engineering degree, it doesn't make sense to do an MBA, right? So those are things that you should consider when you think about leaving your job and going to do an MBA. I hope that answered your question, Linda. Any follow-up questions?
Thank you for taking my question.
Sorry?
Thank you. Yeah, that's clear.
No problem. Okay, no problem. Okay, I see a question here. Do you recommend getting an MBA from India or from a university abroad? So this is a good question, and it requires the answer to this question is do your research, right? My recommendation, I can give you my recommendation from the point of view of someone who didn't look at the abroad option at all, right? I made that mistake because of lack of awareness. I didn't I had this perception that doing an MBA from some of the colleges in North America or Europe or wherever would be too expensive. So I just decided to not look at that option at all. So that was a mistake. I should have evaluated all of my options. So there are, I'll give you my opinion based on some of the high level understanding that I have. So Indian business schools, the advantage is you're not spending eye-popping, shocking amounts of money. You're spending as fees. You are spending an amount that you can at least, you won't get heart attacks looking at those numbers. And also you will that's one point of it. The other, I'm just trying to phrase this right. The second point is you'll likely get you'll be placed in India itself, right? Your job after the campus would likely be in India itself. Number three, you have the opportunity to spend your fees in INR, and also you can get you can potentially earn you can potentially earn outside the country. So even with Indian MBA degrees, so if you do your MBA from a top business school, you have a very wide alumni network, right? You have folks who are throughout the world at all levels of organizations. So again, you have to make sure that you do your MBA only from a top business school, right? So that's very important. And by top, I'm not saying top 3. I'm saying it has to have a good brand, it has to have a good alumni presence, so you have mobility, right? So an Indian MBA is good value for money from that perspective. The global MBA, there are a few good schools, so you need to be able to choose the right school because if you make a bad choice when it comes to the business school, you may end up spending a lot of money without getting enough ROI. So you should be very careful about which school you go to. But once you pick a good school with a good, alumni presence, with good prospects outside after the MBA, you actually have in the longer run, you may actually be in a better position in terms of your career opportunities, right? Because India, the MBA market, the post MBA job market is very competitive. It's a kind of a really tough market. So some of those opportunities might not be available to you. But if you come here, the opportunity, if you come to North America, for instance, I'm just giving an example, it's not as competitive. And also there are some kinds of jobs which are not available in India. So you get more opportunities. But again, make the right choice when it comes to the business school. Don't spend money on a business school that doesn't have a good alumni network or a good placement opportunities. Okay. Afan, did I answer your question? Hoping I did. What do you think is better, part-time or full-time? So this may be my bias, and keep in mind, I entered a B school in 2013. So I did all of my research before 2013. That was quite a long time ago, right? So things can change, and with COVID, things definitely had changed. So I generally tend to say that full-time is better, right? But there are clear advantages to part-time, and there could be better colleges right now. So but the advantages of part-time is you don't again need to leave you can do it without leaving your job. You can spend some time on the side to learn your MBA and take the course over a longer period of time. But again, keep in mind that even if you're doing part-time, do it from a really good business school. So I would say if you're going part-time, make your B school selection more focused, right? pull it up. So if you're doing part-time, make sure you're doing it from a really good business school, right? Because otherwise it will just become a piece of paper with your degree, which is not what MBA is about. Trust me, it's not about that piece of paper. Nobody will give two hoots about that piece of paper. It's about the skills you develop there. It's about the network you build there. It's about those, again, skills. Coming back to skills, about the skills you develop, right? So that would be my take. Any follow-up questions on that, Anandu?
No, sir, no. Thank you.
No problem. Lubeb has this question, which is distance learning. Yeah, online MBAs, right? I don't know a lot of people who have found, and again, I could be wrong. Please do your research, right? Things may have changed, but generally online, just purely online learning doesn't give you that experience, right? You need to be there in the campus. You need to be able to interact with people. You need to be able to do those group activities. You need to be able to do those brainstorming sessions, those all-night sessions. So you need to be able to do all of those with folks with students and professors and others who come to the campus. The good thing about the MBA campus is it's good business schools always have industry tie-ups. So you will have a lot of industry folks in the campus at various times whom you can interact with. So those are things which I don't think can be replicated very well in an online environment. So probably not suggest that as a great way to do an MBA, but things may have changed, so please do your research. Difference between MBA and MIM. Sorry, I don't know what an MIM is. Master in Management? Is that what it is, Abdul?
Hi, sir. Master in Management.
Master in Management. Could you give me some more context about which college this is? Where did you see this?
So it's common abroad especially for freshers, for one without work experience.
Okay. And so I don't think an MIM is offered by any of the top colleges in India. I think it's mostly a postgraduate diploma in business administration. And again, keep in mind that a PGDBM, it's a mouthful, a PGDBM from an IIM or an XLRI or some of the other colleges is completely equivalent to an MBA. So don't get, don't worry about the fact that they don't give you a degree. It's a diploma that they give you. It doesn't matter. It's the same as an MBA. Now coming back to this MIM course, just trying to think. I don't think any of those colleges offer, and again, call me old-fashioned. I would be, and again, if this is offered by a good business school with a good brand, think about it. Otherwise, I would always choose MBA or MIM. Does that answer your question, Abdul?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Nowadays, the corporates are reducing minds. Okay. So I'm talking about Vaishak's question here, which is, I think, about preference given to freshers rather than experienced people. I don't know, only for certain types of jobs, right? Only for certain types of jobs are freshers preferred over experienced folks. As experienced people, you do bring in value. Just keep in mind that there are two kinds of MBAs broadly, right? That are offered by some of the top business schools in India. Those are the regular MBA, right? And then there is executive MBA. Regular MBA is for people with up to, I mean, I think they'll take people with up to 5 years of experience, but beyond 5, they will recommend that you do executive MBA. What I would suggest is, because executive MBAs are expensive, and at that point, say 10 years down the line, taking a year out of your career will seem like a very big decision to make, because your life situations would have changed. You probably have a family. You're probably addicted to the money that comes, from your job. So executive MBAs are generally a tougher decisions, though I know people who have done executive MBA and done phenomenally well. But if you want to do an MBA, I would recommend make that decision in the first 3 years, right? So Vaishak, I'm coming to your answer in a roundabout way. If you have more than 3 years of experience, that starts to impact your placement potential in the regular course, right? So because you have, to your point, companies don't want people who are too set in their ways, right? So if you have spent, say, 5 years in an IT company, and if you have a specific way of working, you have adjusted to a specific culture of working, companies will find it tough to change it. So that's why I say, if MBA, a regular MBA is in your mind, make that decision in the first 3 years after you maximum, right? The earlier the better, I would say, but make that decision within the first 3 years. Does that make sense, Vishal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And don't call me sir, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? That's not a lot of questions. Come on, you have more questions, right?
Hi, sir. I was about to ask one question, and you actually, you misunderstood my question actually.
Okay,
I was talking
sorry.
about online MBA. I was talking about the part-time MBA, or rather, doing the MBA while I'm in job.
Okay. Part-time. I think I'm hearing an echo.
Considering the opportunity cost and all.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So yes, part-time MBA I think makes more sense if you can get that in-person experience. I think it makes more sense. So the way I see it in my eyes, and again, do your research, is full-time in-person MBA from a good business school tends to give you more value than part-time in-person MBA gives you more value than online MBA, right? So that's how I would look at it. Does that make sense, Livet?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody here already preparing for CAT or ZAT or any of the other exams? Nobody? Any other questions? Okay, seems like we are running out of questions.
Hi, sir. I think Afan has put a question about which MBA should we specify, I mean, specialize in for CS graduates.
Sorry, is this question in the chat?
Yeah, it's there in the chat.
Oh, there are, okay. Okay, fine. And the question within MBA, which would be good area to specialize in for CS graduates? No right answer. Again, sorry, I'm being a management consultant again. No right answer. So keep your options open. So that's why I didn't mention that as I didn't want to confuse anybody. You can, so in the first year of your not first year, the first term of your MBA, you are given exposure to all the areas, right? So you can, you'll get a taste of HR, you'll get a taste of marketing, finance, operations. I think those would be the big specializations. You'll get a strategy, you'll get exposure to all of those areas. And I would say don't make your decision right now about good stuff unless you are like that focused, right? Don't make a decision right now. Go in and think through what you would want to do. And again, this is your opportunity to pivot in your career too. So give yourself that flexibility is what I would recommend. But potential career options, typically for people with a computer science background, consulting is a good example. So your technical, not technical skills, the other skills that you develop in your computer science degree, your analytical skills, the way you approach problems, think of variables, constants, what can change, how do they interact, etc. That will help a lot. So it's just a ways of thinking. That's what MBA looks at, right? It's just how you think. That's what matters. So management consulting will be useful. There are people who go to product management. So you work with developers, right? And you influence the product's direction. So as the product manager, your job is to understand what the customer wants, because as a computer science engineer, you know how to solve problems, but you probably don't have a good idea of what the problems are, right? So if somebody tells you to do a particular kind of sort, you'll probably do it in 15 minutes. But why do you need to do that sort? That's where some of the product management skills come in place. So you need to understand what the customer wants to accomplish, and you translate that as problems for your development team to solve. So you act like that bridge between the guy who pays you and the guy who builds the software, right? So that's another good role. And I have seen computer science graduate go to completely, totally different fields. You can go to, I've seen folks go do HR, I've seen folks do strategy. I've seen folks do, these corporate strategy roles where you have these big conglomerates in India, Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group. I'm not talking about TCS, I'm talking about Tata Group corporate. And other big companies, you go and do general management for their different units. About how you bring those different units together and maximize the business objectives. So you can do a lot of different things. I'm saying off the top of my head, the two big, kind of careers that align well with the computer science degree would be consulting, would be product management, and anything related to enterprise software, right? Any enterprise software job you can do really well. For instance, enterprise software marketing might be a good area, right? You know how the software works, you have that customer orientation, you'll be able to tell stories about how the software can help the customer, right? So those are good paths. Sorry, I didn't scroll down, so I think there are a few other questions too. Sorry, did that answer your question, Afan?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, great. With an MBA, which would be a good area, so does admission be school like a completely related to CAT score? So this is a good question. Does admission in B schools like IAM, is it completely related to CAT score? So CAT score is a big part of the admission criteria, but there are other factors that they consider too. Work experience is a factor. They look at your performance in interviews and group discussions. That's a big factor. What else? I think those would be the ones. So if you go, see, these guys change their criteria every year, right? So you can go to the website and see what their latest criteria is, but definitely CAT score is the biggest deal, right? So if you don't get 99 and above, you probably are not, you'll find it difficult to crack one of the top business schools, unless you have, all of the other factors that come into play. Generally, for IMs, it's tough if you don't have a very good percentile. And I shouldn't have dropped that 99 percentile thing. It depends on, what category, all of those aspects, so that's important to do your research. But CAT is very important, but it will get you into the process. But to succeed in the process, you need to have all of the other pieces: your work experience, your performance in interviews, your performance in GDs, etc. GDs, group discussions. Does that answer your question, Adarsh? Okay. Any other questions? Looks like there's not a lot of other questions. Let me scroll and see if I missed anything. I don't think I missed anything. Okay. Vidya, any other questions from anybody?
I think that's all, sir. Thank you very much for answering all the questions.
No problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a very informative talk. We are very glad to have you with us, sir. By listening your words, I think everyone who were a bit hazy about whether to choose MBA or not would have a bit more clearer in their choices. Once again, thank you, sir, for your taking time to talk with us. On this opportunity, I would invite Kiran sir to speak few words.
Okay, Harsh. It has been a long time since we have met face to face, right?
Yes, it's been a very long time. How are you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine. So it's not the first time that I am actually talking something about Harsh in front of an audience. So you might be remembering that, right? Once we had a placement training and we were doing role play, right?
Yes.
So you were acting as Barack Obama, and I was actually supporting you in your election campaign. And I was supposed to tell something about you, right?
Yes.
So, so I was actually talking about your qualities, your leadership skills, and where you might reach one day. So actually, I feel that that might actually I was having a golden tongue at that time, right? Because actually now again I am talking about you in front of others, but you have actually reached somewhere. so that it's actually credibility for me also. That
Yeah,
if I say
absolutely.
something, I can analyze the person and I can say something. Okay, so actually, it actually came to my mind when I actually invited you to with Through Stacks for a talk. Okay, so actually, Harsh, from school days itself. From school days, we actually used to go to tuition together for entrance exam coaching together. Then we were doing UG together. Then again, we are seeing face to face again. So actually, it was a really good time and a good thing to see you talk and handle an audience once again. Okay, it was very entertaining to watch how you were talking and how you were answering the questions. And our students too were actually engaged, equally engaged. So actually, I'm very happy that I was able to bring you back to our campus, at least through online.
Yes.
And actually, COVID is actually a very great opportunity for us. Otherwise, we would not have thought about such a thing, right?
Absolutely.
Through an online talk, how can we bring alumni to students? So it's actually a good opportunity too. Okay, so once again, thank you, Harsh,
No problem.
for
No problem.
taking all the questions online, and I am sure that our students will be having many offline questions too. They will actually get to you. They have your contact, they have your LinkedIn, so they will get you. Right. So how can our students approach you if they need any further advice or things? Can you suggest something?
Yeah, sure, absolutely, and thank you, Kiran. And I do remember all of those events that you spoke about. So it was fun. It were good days. And yeah, would have loved to come in person to the campus. I've heard that campus has changed quite a bit since we were there, Kiran. So would probably sometime later, maybe when I'm there. Yes, so if you have further questions, you have a few options. Let me write these down here. You can contact me via email, which is the old way to do it. Or you can approach me via LinkedIn. And, I think you have that link already, right? And you have, oh man, this is the absolute wrong time. I was thinking of sharing. Anyway, you can contact me via LinkedIn. So just search for Harsh Kundulli, and you can also follow me on Twitter at Harsh Kundulli. You can follow me on Medium at Harsh K the Writer. So I do write stuff on Medium. So you can follow me on Medium. And yeah, those would be the big ways you can contact me. You can directly write to me, email, LinkedIn, Twitter, Medium. I'll be there. Thank you, Kiran, and thank you everybody else. It was
thank you, Harsh.
Yeah,
and this is not the end. Actually, this is just the beginning. Okay, you have to come to our campus. You have to be with our students. Be with your older teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, so one day we will definitely invite you. So this is just a beginning. Okay, an online initiative. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know Chaturya, right? So we'd love to.
Sure. Okay, you can come as family.
Yes. So she's probably she was the topper of one of the toppers, etc. So probably the teachers would like to speak with her too. I'm sure. So yes, definitely, madam. We'll convey my regards to her.
So actually, Maya ma'am is here. She is our current HOD. So ma'am, could you just speak a few words?
അതെ ഉണ്ട്. ഞാൻ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ എന്താ പറയാ, ഒരു കുട്ടിയായിരുന്നതിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു എന്റർപ്രണർ ആയ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ടെക്നോക്രാറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വളർന്ന ഒരു ഹർഷനെ ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ വീക്ഷിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. വളരെ സന്തോഷം. കാരണം ഈ എന്താ പറയാ, കുട്ടികളെ റെഡിയാക്കി നിന്ന് ഈ അമ്മമാര് താഴെ ഇരുന്ന് സ്റ്റേജിൽ നിന്ന് വാച്ച് ചെയ്യുമല്ലോ, കുട്ടി തെറ്റിക്കുവോ ശരിയാവോ, അതേ ഒരു ഫീലിംഗ് ആണ്. എങ്ങനെ ഇത് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന എങ്ങനെ, കാരണം നമുക്കൊരു ലോങ് ഗ്യാപ്പ് ആയല്ലോ, ഹർഷന്റെ വളർച്ച കാണുന്നില്ല. But really happy that you have done what excellently. Okay. And റിയൽ ആയിട്ട്, അതായത് നമ്മുടെ കോളേജ് ക്യാമ്പസിൽ വന്ന് ഒരു മീറ്റ് വെക്കണം എന്നാണ് നമ്മുടെ ആഗ്രഹം. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങള് കിരണും ഒക്കെ കോണ്ടാക്ട് ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ നാട്ടിൽ വരുന്ന എപ്പോഴാന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒന്ന് അറിയിക്കുക. വിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി അറേഞ്ച് എ മീറ്റ്. ആൻഡ് മോർ ഹാപ്പി, എന്താ പറയാ, എക്സ്പ്രസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. വെരി ഹാപ്പി. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, madam. ഒരുപാട് സന്തോഷം സംസാരിക്കാൻ പറ്റിയതിൽ ഒരുപാട് സന്തോഷം. ആൻഡ് എല്ലാവരെയും മിണ്ടാൻ പറ്റിയതിൽ ഒരുപാട് സന്തോഷം. ഉറപ്പായിട്ടും ഞങ്ങൾ അങ്ങോട്ട് വരുമ്പോൾ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി കിരുന്നുമായി കോൺടാക്റ്റിലാണ്. അപ്പോൾ റീച്ച് ഔട്ട് ചെയ്യാം. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for spending with us.
Thank you, Harsh.
Thank you, madam.
So as Maya ma'am and Kiran sir said, after this pandemic, we'll be inviting you as well as Chaturya, for an offline session. So I believe that you'll be here, right? Sharing your thoughts, sharing your ideas with our students.
ഉറപ്പായിട്ടും. We will be there. Yes.
Okay. Convey regards to Chaturya too.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Amrita, you can conclude the session, I think.
Okay, sir. Thank you for everyone who joined with us today. I would like to thank Kiran sir for making this talk possible, and also thank to Ramya ma'am, our staff advisor of STAC. Once again, thank you for everyone. Okay, shall we wind up?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.